Alright, hey guys, how's it going again? Good to see everybody again, metaphorically speaking. We got a little bit of daylight left here, just barely. Hopefully it's coming up good on the GoPro here. But I figured I would do a back-to-back comparison of we are now on a 2017 Yamaha FZ10, which has now become the MT line. And I figured I'd do a back-to-back comparison since this video is being filmed right after that Speed Trip review that I just did. Oh, quick shifter! Hey guys, thanks for joining me on the channel here, and if you like these videos, make sure to like and subscribe. I know I always forget when I'm watching the videos. I always do. I'm watching and I forget to hit the like button, even if the video's awesome or something I want to help the creator. I tend to forget, so I figured I would put this at the beginning of my videos here. And yeah, if you like these videos, let's grow the channel together. Sorry if I'm yelling, but this bike is quite a bit louder than the other bike. This has a full Akrapovic exhaust, I think is how you say it. Actually, it is headers. Yeah, it's got the stock headers and it's got the Akrapovic exhaust there and back. And we're doing a comparison to my 2013 Speed Trip 1050. This is the 4-cylinder FZ10. And right away, the first thing you notice when you get on this bike is the ergos are more relaxed. That's why I got this. You're more, you're sitting more upright on this bike. You can probably tell by, just looking at the video here. This has adjustable. Oh, little cat walking by there. This has adjustable rear sets on it. So my feet are further away from my body. My knees are more relaxed, which is nice. I will say this though, as soon as I got on this, I did not realize this before, but the engine braking on this is just roll off, and especially third gear isn't bad, but first and second gear, the engine braking is serious. And this is just in standard mode. I'm not sure if this is if that affects it. I'll have to change modes here to see if we can get a little. This should be the least amount of engine braking though, because this is the least aggressive mode to have the bike in. I got the traction control on 2 there. You can probably see that. There's a lot of crap in this corner. Sorry. Careful. Alright, yeah, so the engine braking in this is just way more than the Speed Triple. I mean, I would say, I don't know if more is the right word. It's more aggressive. The engine braking, as soon as you roll off, let's see, after I go around this bend, I'll demonstrate it for you guys. It just grabs immediately, right? Quick shifter in this bike. Man, that was it. That acceleration was in third gear. Okay, so check this out. Here's second gear, and we'll go here. We'll let off. It's just wow! Immediately, it's very. There's no one behind me, so I'm screwing around. Yeah, it's very grabby. And as you can probably tell, I'm not used to this bike yet. I've had it for a few days. This is just a little comparison video. It's not a full review. I will say the seat on this is I'll show you guys that later, but the seat on this is way stiffer. And as soon as you let up, it's just very they say the throttle on this is like a light switch. I don't know if I'd say light switch necessarily. It's grabby. So when you let off, the engine braking comes on. It's not like a smooth engagement of engine braking. It's like an immediate engagement. Is the best way I can describe it to you. It's very aggressive, which is weird because the riding position in this, the seating position is less aggressive, but the bike itself feels more aggressive than the Speed Triple, if that makes sense. The motor does, like the engine braking, and the way that the best way I can describe the acceleration on this is look at the view out here, man. The acceleration on this is like violent. That's the best way, man. That corner is just full of gravel right now. Yeah, the acceleration on this is violent, is the best way I can describe it. And I'm riding this on the same road we just did the speed triple on. Hope this comes out okay for you guys in the low light situation. We will see how it looks afterwards. Do a little poll here, I think, for you guys. Get down to you can kind of mask that or help that by, when you shift down, give it a little throttle, right? So you're not just like dumping the clutch with no throttle. This bike also has cruise control, which is amazing on motorcycles. I've never had a bike with cruise control before, and life-changing on the freeway. Alright. Kind of a big bump here. There you go. Woo, wheelies! Holy cow. Okay, so this bike is definitely not as smooth as a speed triple, but the acceleration is just like violent. You gotta hang on even more with this bike. I mean, the speed triple is proper fast. It is. It's just that this is like, I don't know. I think it feels like a human teleportation device. It is just nuts. Absolutely nuts. If the speed triple wasn't for a beginner, this is most definitely should not even be an option for a beginner. I mean, I don't even know if I should have had this thing. I'll get used to it. I'll get used to it, but yeah, this is definitely like a third bike for someone. If you've been riding for maybe, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years, depending on how many miles you put down each year, right? Careful with this gravel here again. Yeah, especially with this bike, the way the throttle's in this bike, you don't want to be accidentally blipping the throttle over some gravel. You'd be having a real bad day. Alright, yeah, there's a lot more features in this bike. I don't think we're going to do a full review on this one. I mean, there's like traction control, and this is ride-by-wire throttle, so you've got different throttle modes, you know. I believe it's got wheelie control, built-in traction control, unless I'm mistaken. I'll have to look that up. I'm pretty sure it does. It's a more fully featured bike because it's a few years newer. You know, like speed triple's a 13, this is a 17, so this has a lot more, you know, rider aids and features and everything. But if you get one of these bikes, you are probably going to want a different seat. I mean, you know, it's everyone's different. It depends on your size too. And, you know what I mean? If you're a bigger dude, you have more cushioning, right? So, or bigger baby, you know, maybe. But for me, I'm like, you know, about 175 pounds, and I don't have a lot of, let's say, cushioning, right, in the tuchus area. So the seat is quite hard on this bike. And the previous guy obviously the previous owner didn't mind it because he put down, there's like 20, as you can see here, there's like 20,000 miles on this bike, and he really rode this bike, he loved it, and put down a lot of miles on it, which is awesome. That's what they're for, right? And he's got the stock seat on it, so for him, he didn't seem to mind it, you know, which is totally cool. But for me, I think a new, different seat would be good. But yeah, so between this and the speed triple, this has a less comfortable seat. It does have fully adjustable suspension, just like the speed triple, which I have adjusted. I would say the speed triple is maybe a little bit of a plusher ride, the 13 anyway. Even with the fully, I could loosen the suspension up, soften it up a little more. I've adjusted the rear shock on this. Careful with the gravel here again. Man, these corners are rough this time of year. All right. Holy cow. That exhaust note. Yeah, so also LED lights. Super nice, and let's check that out. That's with both transformer eyeballs on this thing. This has got that transformer face on it, like the Decepticon face. And not sure how this is coming through on the GoPro, but here is regular, right, just regular beams, high beams, low beams, high beams. And yeah, the headlights are far superior in this bike to the Speed Triple, although the new Speed Triples are probably LED as well. I'd have to look that up. And between the two bikes, I would say the ergos in this are more comfortable for me. I would say, oddly enough, the Speed Triple is more streetable as far as the motor. The motor itself is much more, much smoother, the engine braking smoother. Also, that bike is, you know, it's an older year-wise, but it's newer as far as the actual mileage. There's, you know, there's 2,500 miles on that bike. This bike has 22,000. So that bike is going to be tighter, the gearbox is tighter, you know, things like that. But which one is more fun? Well, it depends on what you want to do. This one I would say is more fun. If you're looking at just going out and ripping it, doing some wheelies and stuff. Can you do wheelies in the Speed Triple? Yeah, of course you can. But this was like made for it. Like it does them. It's power wheelies all the time, right? So if you're looking to rip it like that, even in higher gears, this thing pulls, that was fourth. This thing pulls in fourth. Even on the freeway, this thing pulls in sixth. It's ridiculous. It's got about 160 claimed horsepower, I believe, in this year, in the 2017 FC10. I don't know what it's actually putting down, but this has a Pirelli Angel GT on the rear tire. But yeah, you can tell just getting on it, one after the other, you can tell this bike has more power, and the way it makes the power is more aggressive than the Triple. I don't know how else to describe it to you guys. Got some horses there. I don't know how else to describe it to you guys other than it is significantly more aggressive than the Speed Triple in the way it makes the power. If that makes sense. I try not to be too aggressive out here in the street in these corners because these are blind corners, as you can see. So I don't want to come around this like knee down, or I wouldn't do that in jeans anyway, but you know, come across it like hanging way off and have no room for error, and somebody's running wide on their side, and it's a mess, right? So yeah, the comparison here, I guess it depends on what you want, as with everything in motorcycling, right? If you want more upright ergos, get this one. If you want a smoother motor with, you know, especially the engine braking in this is significantly different, more aggressive. If you're looking for a wheelie machine, get this, right? I guess the best of both worlds would be, just thinking about it now, if you want the smoother engine in the Speed Triple, you could do that, but you want the ergos of this, you could put risers on the bar, go up an inch, pull back an inch, or even go up 2 inches and pull back an inch on that, and then lower the foot pegs. Then you'd probably have the best of both worlds, I guess. The ride is different. I personally like the handling of this bike better, the way, and that goes, it could just be the tires, but this has electronic steering damping, and I do like how that feels. So for me personally, I think I'm going to keep this one, and I'm going to sell the Speed Triple, is what it looks like. But could I live with the Speed Triple too? Yeah, I love that bike. You know, the bike's great. So you could live with either one. I mean, either one is not going to be a bad decision for you. Speed Triple, I would say you can get into sooner, as far as at least this Speed Triple, the 2013. The new ones might be more aggressive and more crazy. And oh man, this thing will teleport you to your destination. But yeah, with the Speed Triple, you can probably get into that as a slightly newer rider, like maybe it's your second bike you've ever owned or third bike or something. With this, I'd be more careful with this because you need a very disciplined right hand with this. Very disciplined throttle hand, because I haven't ridden the earlier FC09s, which I heard were really light switchy on their throttle. I haven't ridden those, but this is much more twitchy in the throttle. So you need to, and I'm not saying I'm not the best rider in the world. I'm not a track guy, right? So I'm not saying that I'm perfect with this throttle either. As you can probably see in this ride, I'm still a bit twitchy with it, learning it and all that. But I think we'll end this video here at the stop sign like we did last time. Although this is a slightly different stop sign. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys again. Make sure you like and subscribe. It's getting dark out here, so you guys probably can't see things too well. So we better sign off. And we will see you guys next time.